Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Known Classics. This is episode number 2129 and Doubleshot 2024. I have two crossover related trades. First up is the classic story by Dan Jurgens and Jerry released in the mid-1990s. We have 0 Hour Crisis in Time. Yep, this trade collects the entire original miniseries, which by the way, never was released backwards. It's either issue 4 and it issue 0. Plus, not only that, we also have 2 issues from Showcase 94. By the way, this should come in 1984, 1996, excuse me. Issues 8 and 9. Multiple for these 2 issues, it just basically a lot of setup for the main miniseries. We have Wave Rider, a Dan Jurgens character, just investigates up with Monarch, and this all, like a lot of stuff here, leads into the main events. Stuff goes on during 0 Hour. And of course, also, and then we have Monarch just attack Hawk. I think it's Hawk. And he's become extinct. Yes. This evil villain, who's the main villain of the story, fights Wave Rider, and then to be continued, and we have the stuff with the Time Trapper. And he's how the cosmos in agony, and the only one who knows how it should be. The countdown has begun. The countdown to 0 Hour. Meanwhile, on Apocalypse, Darkseid is basically standing with hands behind him, talking to Metron, and then we have Batgirl taking on the Joker. And then of course Batman was like, "What? Why is Batgirl?" And of course, the Robin prevents the killing Joke. Then of course, Joker gets away. And then we see Rip Hunter with Wave Rider wondering what the heck is going on with the stuff. Stuff come unbound, and we see looks like a version of Baron where he dies again. Yeah, and of course, Superman. And of course, you have Hal Jordan here. Don't worry, it's just a past version. And then we have something that basically caused Hawkman to be banned for about 5 or 6 years from DC Comics. The multiple version of Hawkman. Yes, it's confusing continuity when it comes to his origin story. This story, kind of in a way, made him a banned character of DC Comics for a few years. Yes. Yes, definitely the Green Arrow, Donna Troy, who is, a Black Star. Let's start with the Outsiders. Basically all leading to the actual crisis itself. And of course, Jay Garrick basically calls for arms with the JSA. Who, by the way, most of them die in this story. Yeah, seriously, a lot of them die. Yes, for some reason, DC Comics kill off the JSA in the story. I do not know why. Impulse is here. Then we see Boost to Gold and Tank Cord here working side by side. Yes, because Dan Jurgens writes this book, of course Boost to Gold is here. And by the way, that's the outfit he was wearing in the mid-90s. By the way, later when he showed up as Superman, he went back to his original costume. My guess is Jurgens was not a fan of this costume. That's why he changed. And of course, we have the gathering of superheroes. All take on Monarch again. And we have Hawkman basically becoming this hawk creature. And some new gods. Lots of stuff going on here, per se. They have Extinct basically killing Our Man. Yeah, he kills Our Man. He goes back to Dr. Midnight, which with these two being dead. Our Man later get revived in the Jeff Johns one for JSA. Dr. Midnight would stay dead, though he was brought back in the current continuity. And it's oh yeah, look familiar. Yeah, it's another version. And of course, we have more fighting. Of course, lots of really good artwork here by him. And by the way, we have appearance here by Amazing Man. Yeah, Amazing Man. Not a very known character, this guy. He's one of the very few DC's black superheroes. Yep. We have the Teen Titans basically becoming evil for reason of the story. And then we have Power Girl who is pregnant. You're thinking, wait, Power Girl pregnant? What the heck is going on, Nick? Well, it was something going on in the Justice League America book where she got mysteriously pregnant and gave birth to a baby. Who, by the way, after that run wrapped up, this baby never was mentioned ever again in comics. It was disappeared, dropped, never mentioned again because I think some of DC probably felt this. So, yeah, this idea of this weird baby pop out of nowhere. It was complete stupid art nonsense. And it felt like a partial reach of what happened with Carol Danvers and Marvel Comics a decade prior. That with her was worse. Lots of action here. Great pose here by Wonder Woman. Yes, I saw she was drawn in the 90s. If you read any comic featuring her, she was drawn like that. And then we have this guy testing on a lantern. Who is this? Well, the stuff related to Zero, of course, Time gets sliced in half. Time Trapper. The Spectre, by the way, he actually survived this crossover intact, no problem. Because it's the Spectre. He actually, Jim Corrigan was stopped being the Spectre a few years after this. Which leads to the Day of Judgment crossover. Came along over by Jeff, where it led to Hal Jordan himself becoming the Spectre. I'll get that. So, and then we have Hal Jordan show up. Except, wait, Green Lantern. Not Green Lantern anymore. Arrow. I've taken the name Parallax. Yes, and Jeff Johns would basically fix this a decade later. Yes. Yeah, it was later retcon a decade later that what caused him to do this was the emotional entity known as Parallax possessing him. Yes. Why am I bringing this up? Because DC Comics basically like making mistakes and other writers trying to do their damnedest, try to fix mistakes. Now, I had heard the reason why the DC did this to Hal Jordan, making this evil person where he kills women with Green Lantern. The reason why? The reason I heard was because his book was selling terribly. So, by the way, the original writer left prior to this story happening. So he had, by the way, the writer responsible for this is Ron Martz. He wrote the story. I don't know if it was his idea, but he wrote it. He wrote the story Become Parallax, which by what happened, in case what issue of Green Lantern happened, it was Green Lantern Volume 3, issue number 50. That's where it happened. And just a couple issues prior to that, we had a debut of Kyle Rayner. Yep, so he just kind of remake the universe, and it's a blank page for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 3 pages. Eventually, stuff reforming, of course. Oh yeah, trying to undo stuff. Eventually, it's taken out by Green Arrow. Well, he's stopped by him, and of course, it's a good action-packed story. Now, what changes came part of this? Well, we had a reboot of the Legion of Superheroes, which was probably long overdue for them. Let's see. Year 2 and Year 3 of Batman was deemed non-canon. Yep. Yeah, if you're curious about those two stories, they're good stories. Year 3 is noteworthy for being a story for a long time, not collected in trade. Eventually, they collected it in the Batman the Dark Detective trades. The story itself is also noteworthy for being not only for the longest time to be collected, but it's also the debut of Tim Drake, where he was a kindergartner. Yep. Year 2 was a really weird story. By the way, the art for that story is by Todd McFarlane. Where in the story, Batman teams up with Joe Chill and uses a gun. Fights a guy called Rapier, who basically was inspiration for Phantasm. Yep. So, then we show the awesome cover for the story. This actually is just a really good story. Link Carr did a much better retrospective of this book than I can do, but the book was really good. I give Zero Hour, Crisis in Time, a 10 out of 10. Next up we have is Final Crisis. No, not the miniseries. One of its many tie-in miniseries. Legion of Three Worlds. The writer of this book, Jeff Johns. Artwork by George Perez. Excuse me. This whole miniseries is focused on Superman. Yeah. Don't have any of his books tied to the events of Final Crisis. Have this miniseries where he just goes museum, fights their people, and then discovers there's actually 3 different versions of lead superheroes in this main miniseries. You have the pre-Zero Hour, post-Zero Hour, You have the 3-book version, which I've been discussing thanks to the trades. Also, he tries to redeem Superboy Prime miniseries. In case you're curious, it's 5 issues. So, they also, in this miniseries, they revived 2 dead characters in this miniseries. Which dead characters, you might ask? Why? Connor Kent, who got killed by Jeff Johns in Infinite Crisis just 4 years prior to this one, and Bart Allen, Impulse. Yes, who got killed off in the last issue of his short-lived ongoing series as The Flash. This book brought them back, and this book unintentionally retired the post-CR version, the 3 version. This miniseries was the final version. Was the final time last time we saw those two versions of Legion superheroes. We had one version from that point forward, the original version. Connor and Bart rejoined the Teen Titans, which they remained there up until the reboot that happened just a year later. Yep. But if anybody gets a chance to read this book, you could say Jeff Johns is doing sort of a love letter to Legion superheroes. This is kind of part of his mini trilogy he did. I think this is the 3rd part of his trilogy he did with Legion superheroes. First, you had Lightning Strikes. You have the Lightning Strike storyline, which crossed between Justice League America Volume 2 and Justice League America Volume 3. You had Superman and the Legion superheroes, and you had this one here. This, you could say, is the finale for that one. And it's also one of the last mini trades left to discuss for the stuff for post-Infinite Crisis stuff related to the Legion superheroes. There's roughly 2 more trades left. There is the 3rd volume for the Click Issues Volume 6 and the Legion Superheroes miniseries. But this miniseries is really, really good. I love it. I give Final Crisis Legion of 3 Worlds a 10 out of 10. If you're a fan of Legion superheroes, check this book out. This might be a tiny to Final Crisis. It has barely to do with Final Crisis. All about the Legion superheroes. That's basically the best way to describe what the whole thing is about. And Superman's long-term relationship with them, which is awesome. Love it. Okay, so that's episode of you. Next episode's going to be, hopefully, Don't Thomas Nagaro. Okay, next video. Bye.